What I want to do now is show some comparisons of how to interact. And what I'm really trying to get down to is the third chart. There's a third chart. What I want us to be able to do is this down here. But we got to get there one comparison at a time. On the first one, we're going to compare transmission of information for the purpose of indoctrination, persuasion, training, information, and selling versus sophistry. Okay? And these two are not the same thing. Now, what is in common is in both cases you have an ideologue. Okay? You have propositionally minded people, people who are attached for whatever reason to sets of static conclusion information. And there's nothing wrong with being at that stage of life, okay? It's a necessary stage. People need to go through it. Mankind needs to go through it. So there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, okay? But we do want to grow out of that eventually, both individually and as mankind. So indoctrination, persuasion, this top part is like if you're going to school to learn a particular thing, if you're going to, say, Capps College to learn how to be a medical office assistant so that you can do paperwork for insurance and give people shots and things like that, you're going to get indoctrinated and trained and informed. And that's okay. It's okay to do this. If you are joining the rowing team at college, this is going to happen to you. If you are joining the debate team, this is going to happen to you to some degree. If you're joining a club, if you're part of an organization, if you're going to orientation at your new job, this kind of thing is going to happen. And what happens here is one ideologue tells another one. They both have firmly held truth claims. And the person who's doing the speaking over here on the right, the person who is trying to lead the conversation, guy in the red, he will lead with the truth claim. So if you're trying to train someone how to repair an air conditioner, you're going to lead with truth claims of what to do, what not to do, okay? There's no guesswork to it. It's very clear, very cut and dry. Propositions are okay. So what he's doing when he talks, the ideologue says, he has information transmission with fully disclosed intent. Okay, today we're going to teach you how to swim across the pool while holding your M16 over your head. Today we're going to teach you how to repair a Maytag refrigerator. And there's nothing wrong with that. Or maybe you drive up to the car dealership and the car salesman walks out there and you know what his job is. He is a car salesman. When he talks, he is trying to sell you a car. So the intent is disclosed. It's not like he's trying to give you something and then tricks you into selling a car. You're at the car dealership. You know why you're there. You know why he's there. You know why each other's there. And he is trying to talk you into selling a car. Fully disclosed intent, okay? And this is different than sophistry. So what he's trying to do is trying to direct the person to their a priori truth claim. What is an a priori truth claim? It's something that you know in advance that you're trying to tell the other person. Like, I know that if you are trying to repair a Maytag refrigerator, that you really have to watch out for these three things. Here's the three things to get people, and here's where the repairmen mess up the most. The instructor already knows this, and he knows it in advance, and he's trying to get you to know it. He's trying to teach and train you to know the information, okay? Or they might be persuading you to act or buy something. Now, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with anything going on up there. As a matter of fact, a lot of society happens well. It functions well because that's happening. Now, the thing to know is that nobody is breaking any new ground. Okay. In other words, we're not learning new ways to repair Maytag refrigerators or repair air conditioners or build microwaves or whatever it is we're teaching people to do. The thing already exists. We're trying to bring a new person into it. Or you might say that that person is like territory, and we're trying to occupy that territory with this information, especially trying to sell something. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons are basically like this. They knock on your door. And they're like, hey, we are from the Kingdom Hall, and we would like to talk to you about why we think the Kingdom Hall is better than your church, and we're right and they're wrong. I mean, they don't say exactly those words, but they show up, and maybe you have an experience that went differently, but the idea is that hello, here's who I am and why I'm here. Here's what I'd like to talk to you about today, and I would like to persuade you to do X, Y, Z. Come join us for a Bible study. Believe the things that we believe. Blah 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 blah. Ideally, honest evangelism is typically this is what's taking place with honest evangelism. You start a conversation. You tell people that you would like them to trust in Jesus Christ, and then you attempt to persuade them why they need to do that, something like that. Okay. Now, how does this differ from sophistry? I've got to bear these in mind. In sophistry, the same kind of thing is happening. Okay. In other words, the leading ideologue has a firmly held truth claim in both cases. Okay. Now, in this case up here, the indoctrinator or persuader or trainer or information giver or the seller, there is disclosed intent about what they are trying to do. I'm trying to sell you this vacuum cleaner. I would love it if you would buy one. Blah, blah, blah. There you go. This guy down here is trying to get you to his firmly held truth claim, something like this. But he's using nefarious means to get there, and his intent is not fully disclosed. Okay? So what a Calvinist would do when they're using sophistry is they would start a conversation where you both agree that works salvation is not the plan of salvation. But then through nefarious means and not fully disclosing, what they would eventually try to convince you of is that when you believe on Christ, that constitutes a work, and therefore you need to get saved prior to and without faith. But of course, they will never say it in those words. Why? Because they're doing sophistry. They're never honest. They're never upfront about what they are doing. So sophistry is not a good thing. What's happening in sophistry? You're going to ask loaded questions. You're going to ask leading questions. You're going to use nefarious means, and your intent, the reason you're carrying on with this interlocutor, is not fully disclosed. They know that they are trying to convince you of Calvinism, but the other person thinks that they are discussing salvation is not by works. Two very, very different things. See? The Calvinist knows that he is trying to persuade you to monergism, but he's not disclosing that up front. Okay? He's going to start the conversation on false pretenses. That's not something that we want to do. We don't want to start things on false pretenses. And now what do they want to do? The goal down here is to direct the person to their a priori truth claim. So if they believe in monergism, which no Calvinist does because they're Calvinists, no Calvinists are monergists. They're all synergists. They just move the point of belief in hearing. Okay? But that's just, Lolosaurus Rex said a bait and switch. Kind of like a bait and switch would be sophistry. Okay? Now what they're trying to do is they're trying to direct a person to their a priori truth claim, but they're trying to come across as being wise and skillful and asking questions. They're trying to paint themselves like Jesus. Like Jesus answered questions with questions, and we're doing the same thing. But they're not doing the same thing. Okay? Jesus happens to know what the people are attached to. He happens to know that the guy is attached to his riches, and the guy needs to have an ego death with his attachment to those riches before he is ready to start considering following the way that is Jesus Christ. Jesus knows that. So he tailors his answer specifically toward where that guy is, which is exactly what we want to talk about. Now, so they want to pigeonhole someone into an established position. So a Calvinist, for example, and I'm just using, this is not an anti-Calvinist video per se, but Calvinism only spreads through sophistry. Okay, very rarely, and I would say only 99% of the time spreads through sophistry. It almost never spreads honestly. Hey, I'm a Calvinist, and I would like to persuade you of Calvinism. Okay, I would like to reinvigorate all the Gnostic views and persuade you to accept them all. Okay, I don't know. I've never met a Calvinist who was honest. Okay, maybe there are some. I just haven't met them. So this is sophistry. They know what they're trying to get you to. Okay? Okay? This firmly held truth claim that they hold. They know what they're trying to get you to, but they're going to use nefarious means and leading questions and not a fully disclosed intent to try to get you there. And they're going to try to pigeonhole you into their established position. Again, we're not breaking new ground. Okay? Calvinism has been around since Mani the Gnostic. Okay? It's been around since then, since before Augustine. It is not new. It is very, very old. And all it does is it claims new people as territory to occupy. Okay? And if a Calvinist is talking, there's no genuine thinking going on. There's like in Pinocchio terms, there's no real boy there. There's a puppet of the egregore. There's a puppet of the system. And that puppet is an avatar of the system, is talking to you to try to make you new territory for the system to occupy. Like they're trying to colonize you. You are another continent to colonize, or a little territory, or a subdivision. You're something to occupy. That's all you are. And they see people that way. And talking to people that are like this, back when I was a fundamentalist, or when I'm talking to someone like George, or someone that I talked to just this Thanksgiving break. You go meet family and extended family and all that. People, they think they're doing the Lord's work, and they have all these ideas in their head, and they see these absolute complete strangers. And they think that the best thing they can do for these strangers is take all these ideas that they have in their head and go persuade, sight unseen, no idea what the experiences, knowledge, or wisdom level of these strangers are. I just need to persuade them to believe the things that I believe because that's what's best for them, and I know what's best for them. Sight unseen, I don't know them. I have the information they need. That is the stage 3 approach to evangelism. It is the most hubristic, stupid thing a person can possibly do.